This is a message to all horror creators, horror filmmakers, thriller filmmakers, and just creators in general, honestly. Jump scares aren't scary anymore. And I think it's very serious that we talk about this because more and more often, as more and more horror films come out, I see them use the jump scare trope more and more lazily, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I really feel like at its core, it takes away from not just from the film, but from our experience of the film um, as the audience. And I feel like there are ways that jump scares can be utilized really well, and I feel like that is becoming more and more rare. Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie and pretend that I don't love jump scares. Like I'm a horror guy. I love horror films. I'm such a huge fan of so many of them. I know so much about so many of them, and I just that's why it makes me sad to see more and more of them like being kind of like, oh, like this will give the audience a fright. This will give the audience a fright. But at the end of the day, like where I want to come home and remember the movie that I saw, remember the experiences that I had, come back excited and frightened and just feel like I had a blast. That's what makes horror so great is that unlike literally any other movie, it makes you it invokes a feeling that no other piece of media can, and that's why I love it so much. So, you know, more and more often I see like, oh, like, some they're looking at like inside a dark closet and then boom, their fucking cousin, comes back behind them and it's like, oh, wow, scared and in reality it's like, well, no, like that's just like a fake out. That's not real. That's not serious. And I'm not saying that, horror has to be taken too seriously. Absolutely not. The greatest horror films are some of them at least are really campy and especially like ones in the 80s and things like that. All of that is great, but I don't want to feel like the film is lazy. I want to feel like the film has heart. Those films had heart. Those films had thought behind them. Those films had creativity behind them. Let's take the the let's take okay, let's talk about the Exorcist films, right? As an example. Exorcist that came out in the 70s, the scariest movie of all time, as they say, has I don't to me personally, I don't think the movie's incredibly scary. You know, I saw that film by actually alone in the theaters when they re-released it a few years ago, and I just had a great time. But I will say there are a couple of moments that are very scary, that did leave with me and that do leave with me, and every time I see it, that do leave with me. One example is Father Karras's dream. Like Father Karras's dream is a very famous scene, and for good reason. He's over there. He's walking up the stairs. He sees his mom, and he's running towards his mom, and he can't quite get to her. And then, in an instant, there's just boom, just a flash of Pazuzu's face, just like no sound, no nothing, just like white, his face gone. And that to me is one of the scariest jump scares ever. That is one of the greatest utilized jump scares ever because we're put in a situation that feels hopeless, that feels frustrating, and then boom, we have the entity behind it, or we have the thought behind it, or we have the whatever behind it that's causing this fear. This is like horrifying to me. You know what I mean? Like this is like I feel like that sense of dread behind something like that is so crucial, to a jump scare. And I'm not saying that jump scares can't come out of nowhere. No, of course they can come out of nowhere. Of course they can come in a situation that is just, kind of, calm and natural and then boom, jump scare. But there has to be intent behind it. Exorcist Believer, right? Exorcist Believer. I can't even tell you how many jump scares didn't need to be there. Like it was just like I remember there's one. Oh my god, it really infuriates me talking about Exorcist Believer because I just really hate that movie. It's just so disrespectful. But there's a scene where the main character, Connor, Tanner, I don't remember his name, but he's like he's a photographer, I guess, and he's taking pictures of this family for a job, and all of a sudden, for nothing, for literally no reason, they're like, I guess the editing starts getting like creepy and like it just like it makes me cringe even talking about it, but it's like the editing gets creepy and like you hear the kid's screams and it just like starts cutting to this dark weird like scape and like it's just creepy for no reason. Like it's not like we were introduced to the demon. It's not like we knew like something prior was going to happen. It's not like nothing like that. It's a normal situation, and the kids and whatever the family that's getting the picture taken start like being creepy, and it's not even like they start being creepy. It's like it's edited creepy. Like the kids are like crying, they don't want to take the picture, and the mom's like, oh come on, and then it like cuts to the kid's face like blackened, like really scary. That to me is a terrible use of a jump scare because it has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with what we're watching. It has nothing to do with the story that we've learned so far. It's just like, oh, by the way, you're watching a horror movie. In case you didn't know that you paid $15 to see Exorcist Believer, more like $20, and here's a scare because I know you're bored. So here's a scare. It's like it's like it feels like the film is treating us like a kid, and they're like dangling keys in front of us, and they're like, oh, like remember a horror movie? Like, aren't you scared? Like, it's like, no, be confident in your film. Be confident in what you're giving us. If you don't want to give us a fright for a long time, that's fine, as long as it's worth it. The greatest films, Exorcist, Silence of the Lambs, all of those things, like they wait. Like the scary moments have weight. Like they don't it doesn't feel like they're trying to rush us or like give us the experience or like give us our money's worth, because they're confident in the fact that their film is strong and they are going to give us our money's worth, and they do, and they did, and that's why they were both nominated for Oscars, because it's like they had the balls to like be what they were, not be a horror movie. The best horror movies are the ones who don't need to tell you that they're a horror movie. It's just a story. It's just a story. It's just an experience. That's what that is. You know what I mean? And I feel like there are so many examples of horror lately that even honestly, even in like the past several years, like don't get me wrong, a lot of horror films in the past like decade, 5 years, I love. Like I really love a lot of them. I think a lot of them are very creative. A lot of them utilize jump scares very well. But I feel like there's a reason why we don't have a horror category in the Oscars, and it's because we have such a bad reputation through like just honestly misunderstanding. And I just really feel like we don't live in a world where there can't be a horror category for the Oscars. It's just I feel like now is the time where horror has to take itself seriously in a grand scape, like it is to a certain extent. But I feel like I don't want I don't want to continue to consume films that feel like they have a like corporate studio behind them. I want to consume films that feel like they have passionate people behind them, passionate filmmakers, passionate writers, passionate actors, passionate creators. I Those are the films that I want to consume, and the ones that I have that are like that are the best films. So anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. I really hope that in the small chance that any horror film creator or writer or any creator in general sees this, they will know to put intent behind their their scares, intent behind their suspense, intent behind their fear, because that creates the greatest horror films.